Hearing the cries of the warriors from the west, the red-haired youth and the white-haired youth clenched their fists. So, the war games. It started now. The hour and minute hands looked at the sky and coincided with each other. In the labyrinthine city on the other side of the mountains, a large bell rang and the war signal was also sent to the sky. Hestia Familia versus Freya Familia. The victory condition is the capture of the Flower of God. Unprecedented, the greatest war game in history has begun at this moment. The name Ruins of the City of Ulza is worthy of the name. The total area of this huge ruin built on the Lake of the Depression is enough to cover the entire district of Ororio. In other words, although around 50 factions were mixed together, it still couldn't be filled. The one who included this ruin as a candidate for the battlefield, and also the object of the guild's opinion, was the Hermes Familia. These ruins are the neutral faction that the main god is interested in, and they are also conducting inspection trips to collect ancient information and secret treasures. In the urban ruins, the historical materials of ancient times have been recovered, and now they have become an empty shell, and this is one of the reasons why it is recommended as the battleground of the faction war. Half-ruined columns and walls bathed in sunlight cast shadows. Missing parts of their faces and arms, statues of numerous gods suspended without a word. On the former site of the large public bathhouse, where the roof and even the walls have disappeared, the rainwater accumulated over the years has now turned into a wide, clear spring. Runestone stars engraved with gods with weapons or dire wolves can be seen everywhere in the ruins. These gems of cultural value were damaged by monsters and cannot be deciphered easily. Funeral jewelry in the tomb was also stolen by the thieves. Symbol of death and decline. The sense of the solemnity of history and the sense of loneliness forgotten by time are placed at the two extremes of the balance, in constant shock. The adventurers looked at this scene and immediately looked away. This once prosperous capital city, which was once again driven to destruction, will now become a fierce battleground again. Are there enemies? No. It looks like we haven't approached the dividing line between east and west. Then report to base camp. Let's move. The adventurers belonging to the coalition of factions moved in one after another. Led by the elves and demi-humans led by Luvis of the Modi Familia, a large number of scout troops were thrown into the ruins of the city. No enemies were found on the southeast side, Mr. Lili. I think the opponent hasn't reached the territory on the east side yet. Understood, my lord. Please leave this place to the defense team and continue west. Then investigate the ruins built on the road ahead. If it's Lili, I'll send troops to control there first. Lili gave instructions to the crystal that emitted the voice of life. This is the east side of the ruins belonging to the territory of the faction's coalition forces, almost in the center. At the old marketplace, where countless pillars lined the base, Lili built a shallow base camp. At the base of the pillar, as thick as a tree root, are placed several crystals, also called eye crystals. Coincidentally, this is also very similar to the command post that Hestia built on top of the tower during the attack and defense of Maze Street. She opened the ruins map, listened to the reports of the various troops through their orbis, and gave instructions one by one smoothly. Miss Lili, have been in touch since now, how are you? I'm so unhappy. Seeing several orbs glowing again and again, and an adventurer's voice came, Chikusa, who was serving as the guard, asked as if she was dizzy, but Lili didn't even look the other way, just took notes wholeheartedly. Although it is called base camp, there are only two people, Lili and Chikusa, in the old marketplace. After all, the hidden gods must also be protected, and there is no way to assign more people to serve as Lili's guards. If Lili falls, Aisha, Daphne and Tsubaki will be responsible. For faction coalition forces, losing the head of command is not the worst. The most important thing to avoid is missing the enemy's self-protection strategy. Never mistake the most important goal, Lili said forcefully to Chikusa. However, hey, little people. There are no enemies in the center. What to do next? Follower of Lili, the enemy has not made a great circle from the north. It looks like there's no need to worry about them going to the rear for now. Let's cross the dividing line and invade enemy territory on the west side. Okay. Commander, what's wrong? Give instructions quickly. No matter how brave you are, this is not the amount of information Lili can handle. The mission that must be done and the real truth are very different. It was the broken voice of Bors, Welf, the Amazon and the elf again. Looking at those glowing orbs, she wanted to scream and break free. She even resented, the braver, when he said with a smile on his face, "Go for it. You'll be fine." Ordering him to carry out that kind of multifaceted command. However, if you don't, you can't do this. Weak Lili can only do this kind of thing if she wants to help Mr. Bell and the others. Even Miss Daphne can't count on her to help now. Daphne, who reached LV3, it is also a valuable high-ranking combat power in Faction Alliance. It is absolutely impossible for her to help Lili. Since she decided to take charge, Lili has lost her qualification to act like a baby. With red eyes and a sweaty forehead, Lili gave Chikusa a fearful expression and gave instructions to all adventurers. At the same time, she scribbled the information she heard onto another piece of parchment that wasn't a map. Again, please scout the troop to find the enemy troop and the goddess Freya as the first objective. Avoid fighting as much as possible. Gathering information is the top priority. She addressed the fist-sized orbs in her hand, subtly calling in a low voice. In this searching for God battle, Lili puts a lot of emphasis on the offensive. The evidence is that the ratio of scouts to detect the enemy's situation to the defense team to stop the enemy's invasion is 7-3. To put it to the extreme, Freya Familia's attack cannot be stopped. Otter and the tough warriors, a first-rate assault, even the biggest faction in the city, the Loki family, Finn would say you should avoid. No matter how staunchly the adventurers defend, they will be crushed, which can be described as the steps of destruction. Being on the defensive means defeat. Realizing this, Lili insists that offense is the best defense. She wants to create a situation where the enemy's formation becomes passive and firmly refuses to let her. Formation itself stays at the rear. In any case, there must be intelligence. The enemy's policy. Configuration. Quantity. Even though the hidden location of the goddess Freya is very cleverly hidden, the position can only be deduced through the opponent's formation. No matter what the enemy set up in the process, how many traps. Although she didn't say anything, but for the recon troops, Lili's idea is that it doesn't matter if they are eliminated. If I can put it another way, it's that she's mentally prepared for the inevitable sacrifice. Find the enemy, and destroy, are exactly the same thing. Even though the two sides are on the same level, the coalition forces faction and the beauty goddess family, Freya family. There is also a huge gap in core skills. As long as they are discovered, the recon troops will undoubtedly be wiped out. Does that mean Ms. Lili treats scouts like outcasts? Daphne, who commanded a defensive team, covered her ears with one hand, as if she felt too noisy, and at the same time explained to Cassandra. If you want to win this searching for the gods battle, you have to assign people to serve as scouts. After all, it's finding the opponent's main god on such a vast battlefield. We're talking about the Freya family's monster army, so as long as you're willing to take the time, there will be the victory condition of destroy all faction families and allied forces, but that won't be mentioned for now. As long as you know the location of the opponent's main god, no matter how violent the opponent's attack is, you can counterattack. Since the opponent wants to divide their forces to attack, they need to reduce the power to protect the main god. It is necessary to understand the positions of all the gods in the coalition army and launch an attack, so that the combat power is definitely dispersed. This is the loophole that Ms. Lili wants to hit. And that. Daphne looked at her waist with orbs in between. Considering Lili's current mood, she carefully said, "If you want to reduce damage on your side, you definitely won't be able to win this duel." "That's right. Your Excellency," Lili said so. "To be more precise, it's not just me and other reconnaissance troops, but even the gods like Mr. Takamikazuchi is also a bait." In a reconnaissance troop, Uka ran desperately through the forest, talking. The only way to penetrate the opponent's heart is when the flesh is cut. No matter how much pain and grief is accompanied. The battle format of the wargame was just decided, and Lili said those words in front of the Hestia Familia. Without Finn's prompting, the little commander understood the course of the battle.